All right, folks, here is my biggest payday to date, just over $20,000. Here's the check. Hit like and subscribe. Down below is a link to the course that I took almost 2 years ago that is the foundation of my business. I'm going to have a tip for you coming up here shortly, so stay tuned, kind of how I determine my percentage splits. This was a fairly recent case. It was a business that I was working with, a business that had long been out of business, and I had to find the people that were part of this partnership and located them. Actually did 3 deals with them of varying sizes. This was the largest of the 3. The total recovery was just over $62,000. This was my portion. We did a 65-35 split. So this particular deal took a while because, like I said, there were 3 deals, 3 individual submissions that my attorney had to do. And this check represents my company's take, my full take from this after the client was paid, after the attorneys were paid. So this is what my company received, the check that you saw. Here's my tip for you. When trying to determine what percentage to charge, 60-40 is kind of a standard. That's what I started out with. I've kind of shifted to a 70-30 as a standard. I think it's more appealing to people right off the bat. I don't think I lose as many claims initially. Some people used to just cut me off after they saw or heard 60-40 because a lot of people don't like to negotiate. They're afraid to negotiate. So if they see the 60-40, they either think that's it or they're afraid to negotiate. So they're not going to go any farther with you in this, and the deal is probably dead. But if that's the case, if you can reconnect with them, sometimes they won't respond to your calls. But if that's the case and you reconnect with them, just say, what's the issue? And usually that's the issue. The split is too high in your favor as the money finder. So one of the things that I use to gauge what percentage to do is I try to think emotionally. So if it's that person's home, they're probably very emotionally involved with the home. So you'll want to have a split, probably start at 70-30 there. Now, if it's an heir or somebody that's very distant from the situation, like I'm dealing with some now that are very, very, very distant cousins. So I started out at a 60-40 split because they really don't have any emotion. The person that died almost 8 years ago. They had no ties to the house, the people that I'm working with. So I started out at a 60-40. If it would have been the homeowner, I would have started 70-30. But also, I just sent out a contract today, and this is important. Sometimes if I'm close to a number that I want my client to get to, for instance, I just called a guy today. I think he does a lot of properties in this area as a real estate investor and flipper. As I was talking to him, he seemed kind of down that this property had been foreclosed, and he said, well, I put a lot of money into that, everything's new. So I knew from that he was emotionally attached. So when I did the splits, there was just over $26,000 available. When I did my initial split, he came in just under $20,000, but I thought, I think for him mentally, when he sees my contract, he wants to be at or over that $20,000 mark. So I adjusted my percentages a little bit to get him $20,000. Getting $20,000 instead of $18,800, that's a big deal. That's a big deal mentally. So those are a couple ways you can determine your percentages based on the emotion, your perceived emotion of your potential client, and try to get them to a number that looks more appealing in their eyes from the beginning. And you don't have to have a big percentage jump. You don't have to go from 40 to 30. Sometimes you can go from 40 to 35 or from 30 to 25 to hit that sweet spot. So hopefully everybody comes away happy with the deal. Hit like and subscribe. Down below is a link to the course that I took almost 2 years ago that is the foundation of my business. No other business that I've been in can I get $20,000 checks. And I hope to get more of these, but even if I don't get a bunch more $20,000 checks, I'm getting checks that I never would have gotten in any other business that I've ever been involved in. This is a great business. It does take time to learn. You have to learn from somebody. Nick Fulmer's course was the foundation of my business, and I continue to learn from Nick because the course is open-ended. You continue to get updates as he adds to the course. So click on the link below, check it out, and maybe this course can change your life too.